So one of the things that, subhanAllah, I would like to inform you, that one lady, she passed away. And now this is the Shaykh, he's narrating his story. He's the one who witnessed, and he's the one who was in the graveyard. He said that, from the beginning, the situation was not well. I can see the situation is not well. While giving the ghusl, the face is I can realize, because he's going through experience of 30 years, and smell from the other side and all the other signs. He said, okay, till here I can ignore, and I can just say, okay, maybe it's just a smell coming out of the body and dead body and whatsoever. He said until they took the body into that bed, and they carried the bed until the graveyard, or until the grave, the Shaykh saying, in the graveyard, we were more than we are big in number. The number can flip the whole car, We were many in number in the graveyard. Now we want to carry this woman and put her inside the graveyard or the grave, and she is not moving. The 5-6 brothers are trying to, pull this lady. She is not moving. Another 4 or 5 brothers coming and trying to hold this body, and she is not moving. And that's why the Shaykh said, our number was enough to flip the whole car. But this body with small size and small body, she is not moving from her that bed. So what's wrong? And he did his best. That body is not moving from that bed. And now he said, I went through all these fiqh issues and all these books. There is nothing like that. Okay, if it's bleeding, you do this. If it's broken, you do this. If you have body chopped into many pieces, what you will do, how you will go do ghusl and bath and everything. But I never ever come across with this kind of situation, So I have to call one of the mashayikh. And the situation was really bad. Even though he was saying, before calling the Shaykh, he was standing in between the grave. So one feet is here and the other feet is here. The hole is in between his legs, so he can at least help. But the thing is, the body is not moving. So at the end, when he gave up, he said, let me call one of the mashayikh and ask what to do. So he called one of the mashayikh, and he just in a very fast way, he said, this is the scenario, what should I do? I don't know what to do. So the Shaykh said, well, keep reading, start reading the Quran whatsoever. So he said, well, according to my experience, the dead person will not hear, so why I have to read? He said, just read, I cannot give you any answer, just read that. So he said, okay, I came back to the dead body, and I started reading randomly, some from the Surah Yasin, some from Surah Al-Qaf, some verses from here and some verses from here. And the first thing, of course, you take the person into the grave is the legs. So I saw the people are able to lift one leg only. Imagine, people are lifting one leg. So he said, Alhamdulillah, at least something better than nothing. So he said, keep reading and reading and reading. And 3 of the sons of this lady, they carry the body inside the grave, and he is still reading. He said something happened. Someone called me. Someone, I think, he just dragged me at the back or something like that. I stopped my qira'ah. I stopped my reading. He said, out of sudden, I just saw that 3 sons went inside the grave. They just fell down, because again the body became very heavy. They couldn't handle it, so they fell down. The body fell down, and the body hit the grave, and So he said, what happened? Why are you doing this to your mother? He said, Wallahi, we don't know. She just out of sudden she becomes so heavy. We cannot carry her. So he said, anyways, I went inside the grave, and I started telling them, okay, and I started reading, and I'm just I'm not stopping reading. I'm just pointing, do this, lift this, and do this. And he said, as a man, as an ajnabi, as a stranger, I cannot touch her, because there is mahram, there is sons and the relative of this lady, so I cannot touch her unless she is completely alone. So I'm just telling and giving the advices what to do and what not to do. And one of the sons, he's crying, continuously crying. So the Shaykh said, what's wrong? What's wrong? He said, Shaykh, Allah khallik, may Allah save you. Don't say anything to people. Just protect, or what you call it, istar ala ummi, means just make sitr, just protect and don't say anything about my mother to anyone. He said, I didn't see anything, What you talking about? He said, that's it, Sheikh. I'm just telling you, please protect the name of my mother at least. The Sheikh couldn't understand anything. And then the Sheikh wants to come up, and before coming up from the grave, the son said, may I see my mother's face? The Sheikh said, okay, let me come up, let me come out of the grave, and you see your mother's face. I cannot, see. So the Sheikh came out, and then the son saw the face. He came out as well, crying a lot, and made the dafn and everything. And the son actually, he promised the Sheikh while they were in the grave that I will tell you, but don't say anything to people. I will tell you later on once we are outside the grave. So once it's done and the son is crying, he took him into the side. The Sheikh said, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And he said, no, I will not tell you. He said, you promised me. You promised me you will tell me. He said, no, I cannot tell you, Sheikh. He said, why you promised me and you have to fulfill your promise. He said, I have to just tell you one thing. That the woman that we just buried, she is not my mom. She was not my mom. The Sheikh said, I have the paper. It's your mother and this is her name and this and that. He said, Wallahi, Sheikh, I swear by Allah, when you gave her ghusl, I was there. When you gave her the bath, I was there. Her face was white, And Wallahi, what I saw just now, it was a coal. It was a black stone. And she was not my mom. And he's crying. The Sheikh said, okay, tell me, what's wrong? He said, no, I cannot tell you, Sheikh, and he left. End of the story. Now the Sheikh saying after a few months, Qaddar Allah, that it was Allah's will that, I prayed again janazah in my graveyard. And a man came to me with a long beard, wearing qatra, and there is a spot of sajda on his forehead. And he said, Sheikh, do you remember me? So he said, no, but please remind me, I don't know who you are. He said, do you remember a few months ago, there was a lady refusing going inside the grave, and I'm the son. So he said, okay, I think he was before different than now. He said, yes, alhamdulillah, I made a tawbah, and I'm changed. So he said, then why you left? Why you just run away without telling me? You gave me a promise and you have to fulfill your promise. So he said, I will give you now what exactly happened, and I will tell you right now. So the Sheikh said, what happened? He said, my mother, in her whole life, she never ever prayed. In her whole life. She never prayed in her whole life. That was the reason that she is refusing to go, and even now it's a dead body. But the body is refusing to go inside the grave, And when I saw that, I was crying. And then at the end, when I saw the last thing, which is opening her face and the cover on her face, and see, it's completely black. She is not my mother. And I was more depressed and I was more, scared. And this is what happened with me. So this is one of the stories that the Sheikh mentioned. He said, now look, just because she didn't pray her life, and she was lazy to go and get up for prayers, this is what happened, and people saw and witnessed that the body was refusing to go inside the grave. There is another story of a lady that day night, and just before coming to the information, another lady, the one who gave ghusl to the ladies, called this Sheikh, and she said, Sheikh, I'm in a trouble. I'm just giving bath to a lady and I'm in trouble, I don't know. And of course, even the previous story, the woman gave ghusl to that woman, So it's not that the man, because I said, the son was there, of course, but the one who gave the ghusl to that mother was a woman. So again, this woman calling this Sheikh and saying, well, I'm in a trouble, please, if you can help me. He said, what's the trouble? He said, is it okay if I can open up with you? He said, of course, you are in trouble and you are in the middle of giving ghusl. So tell me. She said, there is a lady who's completely dead on that place where we give the bath, but her one hand on her side. What you call this? Khusr side hip. You can say the hip. One hand on her hip, the leg or the feet is up like this, and the other hand back at the head. So one hand on the head, the other hand on the side or on the hip, and the one leg is like this. So he said, okay, try to make it straight. She said, Wallahi, I tried. But the thing is, I cannot push it because it might break. And Prophet ﷺ said, breaking the bone of a dead person is like breaking a bone of a living person, So a person feels at that moment, That's why even by giving ghusl, you should not use very hot water, and it's also recommended not to be very cold water. It should be normal, as you're giving that to a normal person. So the Shaykh said, okay, you know what, take a towel, dip it into the hot water, and put it on her muscles and elbow and everything, and try little by little. So she said, Shaykh, you're talking about the towel. I dipped the whole body inside the hot water, and it's still same. And I don't know what to do, And it's very, visible, like, even if we wrap her on the kafan, the one hand is like this, the other hand is like this, and the leg is like this. So what should I do? He said, Wallahi, try your best. Try your best. Now this is it. Well, what you can do, you cannot break the hand and break the leg. And just check why this happened. Now the Shaykh saying, check with the family member why this happened, and who is she and what she used to do. So she said, is it okay to ask the mother? He said, ask her, but take her to the side. Don't ask her in public. So this lady went to that mother, and she said, look, we are trying our best, and I'm trying to manage her hand and leg and everything, but it's not. So the mother said, Wallahi, when we brought her till here, till inside the place of ghusl, she was fine. She was completely straight. Once she went inside the place of ghusl, she became like this. One hand on the hip, the leg is up, and the other hand on the head. And they give her the kafan exactly the same way, because they couldn't make any changes into it. And they gave her, the funeral things and everything, all the steps, they followed all the steps. Later on, she went to the mother, and she said, can you please tell us why this happened to your daughter? So she said, in her life, she never ever stopped, herself from listening to the music. Day and night, she listens to the music. Adhan is going on, Adhan is not going on, it's Ramadan, it's this, it's that, she doesn't care. She always gives money to my little son, or to her little brother, that go to Baqqala, bring for yourself this and that, and go to the end of the street, and just give me the latest, and buy for me the latest CD or the latest cassette for me. And she always, into all these things. And how she died, she was invited into one of the weddings, So in the weddings, they put the music, and she was moving and so happy and going left and right. So some of the friends said, why don't you just come on the stage and just dance? So she came on the stage, and this is what the mother saying. She came on the stage, and exactly she put one hand on her hip, the other hand on the head, and she just wanted to pull her leg to just make a style or something like that. She took one round, she fell down, and she was dead, completely dead. At that moment, they took her to another room where the grooms sit and everything. They tried to put water on her. She was straight body. But look, subhanAllah, because her whole life she was doing what? The end was the same. And she went inside her grave exactly the same way she died. Subhanallah. So this is, subhanAllah, when I was going through all this, I said, subhanAllah, look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes these people ibrah, a lesson to others, so they will see, they can understand, they can ponder upon all these things.